This week on Big Red's Cooking, we make pumpkin pie. Hi, and welcome back to Big Red's Cooking. I'm Big Red. So first off, I'd like to wish all my Canadian viewers a happy Thanksgiving weekend. This is the Friday going in Thanksgiving weekend. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to be making a pumpkin pie. Of course, classic Thanksgiving dinner dessert. I got a little bit of a twist on this one. This is actually an orange pumpkin pie. It's a nice little sort of additional flavor that's in there. So why don't we jump on over to my favorite spot, my workbench, and we'll pick it up over there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start getting our pie filling made here now. Now, before you start making your pie filling, what you want to do is you want to have your pie crust ready to go so you can put that liquid in. It's not sitting around. We will be working with raw eggs, and raw eggs can be hazardous at room temperature, so you want to be able to put that in your pie filling. Or in your pie crust, I should say. I've already got my oven turned on. I've got it preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Anytime we're doing a custard pie like this, and this is what this technically is because we're using that eggs is what's going to bind it all up. We want to start at a really high temperature, and that's going to help to set that crust up. But after 10 minutes, we're going to take it, we're going to drop it down to 325, and we're going to let it finish cooking from there. We want to make sure that we don't get our filling too hot. We want to just cook it, because if it gets too hot, if it goes over the required temperature, it can actually turn into scrambled eggs. And as much as I love scrambled eggs, and I do love scrambled eggs, I don't want scrambled eggs with pumpkin and spices and sugar, and oh, no thanks. So again, make sure you've got your pie crust ready. If you haven't watched that video yet, I will have a link at the end of this video for you to be able to see it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to blend together our brown sugar, which is about 2/3 of a cup firmly packed brown sugar, or for guys like me who love those kitchen scales, it's actually 140 grams of brown sugar. To that, I'm going to add in my spices. And I've got here a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of ginger, half teaspoon of nutmeg, and a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. And I'm just going to give this a nice sort of stir around and get that all well incorporated in. Now, you'll notice I'm actually doing this in a nice large measuring cup, and I'm doing that for a specific purpose. You know, one of the things that's always a struggle for a lot of people is getting those liquid-filled pies to a stove without spilling it anywhere. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take my empty pie crust to the stove, and then I'll be able to pour my filling in once that crust is in the oven. And now I've got a whole lot less risk of it spilling all over the place. I don't have to worry about carrying it. Alright, so next thing we're going to add in that is a couple of eggs. And we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of vanilla in here as well. So I got about a half teaspoon of vanilla there. I want to go ahead and give this a good mix. Okay, so we've got our brown sugar and our eggs all mixed together here, with our cinnamon and our spices and our vanilla. So we're just going to set that to a side. Now, this is a nice little recipe. I love orange juice. I think pumpkin and orange are a great combination. So what we're actually going to do next, actually, I lied, we need this. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to take some of the zest right off this orange, and I'm going to add this right on in to our brown sugar egg mixture here. So I've got, you know, one fairly large orange. And what we want to do is we just want to, you know, I got my nice little kitchen rasp here. You can just use a regular grater if you have that. You just want, the one thing you want to do, you look carefully here, you can see that we're just going into our peel. We're not really going very deep. And all we're looking for is that sort of that outside, that's, you know, what we call the zest. I'm just, I'm not even worrying about how much it is. It's just going to add a nice little extra little bit of flavor into it. Alright, so now I've got my zest added in there. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this orange, I'm going to split it in half, and I'm going to juice it out. And I've got my juicer here sitting on top of my measuring cup. And what we need now is about a half cup of orange juice. Now, you may not necessarily get a full half cup of this orange juice, and if that's what happens, that's not the end of the world. Because all we're going to do then is we're just going to top it up with a little bit of water. There's one orange juice juiced out, or one orange I should say. And we don't want the pulp, we want mostly just the juice. So I don't have quite a full half cup here, so I'm just going to go ahead and top this up now. A little bit of water, so we've got a combined half cup of orange juice with a half cup, total half cup combined of orange juice and water. And we're just going to go ahead and add that right on in. We got 1 cup of milk, and that can go on in. And then we've got our pumpkin here itself. So the pumpkin, again, it's just some canned pumpkin. And what I've got there is, for those of you who are using a scale just like I do, 275 grams. Now, if you're using volume, I've got 1 1/3 cup of pumpkin there. I'm just going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a blend around. And what we don't want to do is mix this so hard that we get a lot of air bubbles into it. Really, we're just trying to pull together. So that's why I'm not using any electric mixers or things like that. I am using a whisk because I want to make sure all my ingredients are fully incorporated. But I don't want to go getting a lot of air in this. And there we go, that's all there is to that. So, that's it, we're just going to take our pie crust, we're going to come right on over to our oven. I'm just going to put my shell right down there. And I'm literally going to take my mixture and just pour it right on in. So we'll set our timer for 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes we'll turn that down. And that's all to it. Now, one other thing I should mention, you want to make sure your rack is at the lowest possible rack you can. Again, with a pie like this, we want to make sure that that heat from that bottom really hits the bottom of that crust as quick as possible, so that it really can help to set up that pie crust so it doesn't get all soggy on us. So we'll check back on this now in about 10 minutes time. Alright, so our timer is going off. So we're going to take this and we're going to drop our temperature down. We're going to drop it to 325. And there you go, it's set already. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set a timer for about 40 minutes. Now, what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to set my timer for 35, and we'll have a look at that time. We'll see how our pie is doing then. It's much better to have a little extra time to work with rather than have it overcooking. So let's just have a quick look here anyhow. Yeah, it looks like a pie. Alright, so we're coming up on 35 minutes here now. My timer is just about ready to go off. And I'm going to be preemptive. I'm going to shut my timer off here now. So, like I said, I like to have a little bit of extra time. So let's go ahead and have a look at our pie here. So I can see that the center is still jiggling around quite a bit. Definitely not ready to go yet. So we're gonna go ahead and set our timer for another 5 minutes and we'll check it then. All right, so it's been a little more than 5 minutes now. Let's go ahead and have another look at our pie here. So that's still pretty loose in the center. What we want to see is we want to see it a little bit movement, but not a lot of movement. There's still a lot of movement there. I think I'm gonna need probably closer to 10 minutes on this. So we're gonna go ahead and set our timer again. We'll check back in about 10 minutes. All right, so it's been another 10 minutes or so, so let's go ahead and have a look at our pie here now. Oh yeah, that's looking done here now. I'm really happy how that looks. You can see there's that nice little jiggle, but it's looking like it's set up. So the final test for this, just take our knife and just slowly put it in. And no, you know what, that's not quite done yet. My knife didn't come out clean, so I want to give this a few more minutes. So we'll give this about another 5 minutes and we'll check it then. Alright, so I've given it a few more minutes. Let's go ahead and check this thing now. Yeah, so I like the way that looks there now. I think that's set up fairly well. So there's a really important concept in cooking known as carryover cooking. So there's more than sufficient heat left in that pie there now to be able to finish cooking that, and that'll set up really nice for ourselves. We can see we get a little bit of flakiness going on with our crust here. I'm really happy with how this looks. So we're gonna go ahead and let this cool down here now, and we'll pick up over at the counter. All right, so our pie is out of the oven. Doesn't that look fantastic? Oh, smells so good too. All right, so our pie is out of the oven, and oh, smells so good. I can't wait to have a slice of this. So I'm not actually going to slice in this. Normally I finish my videos by taking a nice big old slice out of whatever I'm making, and you guys get to watch me chew away. But I've got this one made for my Thanksgiving dinner in a couple of days' time. So, you know, you'll just have to wait and see some of the pictures on my Instagram feed. So really, you know, not too much to this pie. You know, so go ahead and make your own pumpkin pie this year. Don't go buy one. You know, take your time, follow through those steps. You know, remember, put that shell in the oven and then pour it in. It's going to be a whole lot easier. You'll make less mess. You know, get that temperature started nice and high initially, and for that 10 minutes, and then drop it down, and check, check, check. In the end, this one took about 55 minutes in the oven, even though it said about 45. It said 40 to 45 minutes, and I had initially checked it after 35. And that's okay. You know what? I was happy that I checked it early and kept going back to it, rather than to have it overcooked and not get what I wanted out of it. So, as always, I really do hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I taught you a little something. Please go ahead and like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you know, it'd be great if you can do that for me. Please go ahead and share this around. You know, go back and have a look at the website where you can see the full write-up about this. Keep coming back. I hope you're enjoying some great food. And we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.